Hello, Classic Joey Mac here. I wanted to open up with my first video back to the YouTube sphere or the internet or whatever you want to call it nowadays by talking about a subject that I've been fascinated with for years. And there was a blog years ago, probably 2009, 2008, I think it operated for a few years, that talked about the last meal of prisoners that were on death row. And I don't know how they came about finding out this information, but they found out most people's request in terms of what they would want as a last meal. Now, I did a piece on this years ago, back on the archaic times of MySpace, but my interest with the subject has not waned. I've always been fascinated. I've asked people that I've known over the years, what would they do? And I'd like to give the parameters that I don't think it's fair. I guess everything's fair, but in this scenario, I don't think it's fair for us to be saying, well, I'd want Taco Bell as my last. If I really had to sit down and think about it, and let's say you were a prisoner on death row, God forbid, regardless of what you did to get in there, which may or may not play a decision in what you decided to pick. But for me, I think that it's only fitting that you're able to use what you can, instead of saying, well, I'd want a cheeseburger from Whataburger, or I'd want Pizza Hut pizza, or whatever. I think it's only fair that we sort of use real food and not food that can be ordered out or food at a restaurant. It'd be very easy for me to say, oh, well, I'd like, manicotti from my favorite Italian restaurant as my last meal. If I was a death row inmate, you're not going to have access to that. So I'd like to keep it within reason, I guess. So I really sat down and thought about it years ago, and I think it's changed slightly for me, but not by much. If I had to choose, I would probably do a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on white bread. I would do cheese curls, a glass of strawberry milk, chocolate chip cookies, and I don't know, that probably would be it. Maybe an additional glass of milk with the chocolate chip cookies. If I was going to do another dessert, I'd probably do a yellow cake with chocolate icing. But I know that doesn't sound glamorous. You're probably sitting there thinking, there are people that would have steak and loaded baked potatoes and blah, blah, blah. Why would I do that? Well, I think I'm the kind of person that if I was on death row, I'd be sitting there thinking, this is the final decision that you're really going to make. This is the last true, impactful decision on your personal life that you're going to have. So I know that I would want something that conjures up memories as I'm, a couple hours away from being executed. I think that there's no meal that I would enjoy more than that because of my childhood. I think I'd want to sit there and probably think about childhood. I could sit there and say, my favorite food of all time is a pizza. But do I really want prison food pizza to be my last meal? Probably not. It's probably not how I want to go out. So I would think something as basic as that, peanut butter and jelly, cheese curls, and so on. Those are very simple items, and you can't really screw up a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. When I was a kid, even now, I still enjoy that meal. I typically don't have all of that in one sitting, but you're damn right I would if I was, minutes away from being, executed. But it would conjure up childhood. The first meal that I was able to make on my own probably would be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And for me, there was nothing better than that and some cheese curls and strawberry milk. And I make chocolate and strawberry milk the same exact way that I did when I was 10 years old. And I'm 29 now. So I just think that if I had to sit there and have an hour to myself, I'd want to relax and sit back and reflect on my life, and I'd want a meal that really put that into perspective. I've seen what other real inmates have chosen, and as you might imagine, steak and lobster and baked potatoes and cheeseburgers and so on and so on. And they all have their reasons, I'm sure. There were some people that were like, I want a Dr. Pepsi and grits, maybe because of where they grew up. I don't know. I think everyone probably has their own idea of what would be important to them. Maybe you'd go for, I want the biggest meal I can get and it would be the best tasting. For some like me, I'd want something where I can reflect on and actually sit there and not only enjoy my meal for that day, but sort of enjoy the meals of 1,000 times from when I was a kid. Others may just choose nothing, because they're going to die. So I'd be curious to see what some of you choose. I think it's one of those decisions that we wouldn't know how to truly make it unless we were, on the spot. And I hope that no one watching this is ever in that position. But it is interesting to think about. At least it is to me. It's not like today. Like, really, what do I want for dinner today? I don't. It's not my last meal. And you really don't know it's your last meal unless you know you're going to die or get killed at a certain point. I mean, even if you were terminally ill, and unless they said you have 20 minutes to live, you really don't know when that's going to happen. So to truly sit there and think what would be the last thing I'd want to eat and why, I just think is a fascinating philosophical question. So let me know what you guys think. You can hit me up on Twitter at Classic Joey Mac and check out my YouTube channel here. And I have all the links to Tumblr and all. I'm still getting new to this in terms of having all these accounts linked. I'm a few years removed from doing any sort of vlogging, blogging, or writing. So bear with me, but I'm sure all the links are posted. So, all right, keep it classic. See ya.